I'm putting it on a 30-degree angle. This will be the top. The reason I'm doing that is it adds structural strength. And secondly, it is very reminiscent of some of the doors and things from old woodworking from Middle Franconia, where my wife is from. I've got the center run glued and nailed in, and I'm going to preset the nails where I want them, and then I will glue and nail this one in. Presetting the nails makes it easier to keep your lines without having to mark it up to do it, because I can do it by eye. It also helps keep the boards where you want them, because if you have your nails in a line, then you know where to put the board. Didn't have to do that with the lines, but I do it generally so I know where to stop the glue at, so I don't overrun it. Once I get it all assembled, I'll go back with a center punch and set all the nails. because this is pine, I can put drops of water on where the nail holes are at after I set them, and it'll swell back up and you'll never see the nail holes. This is some of the pine that was on paneling in the living room, and if I understood the Mrs. Connor correctly, this was all cut here on the farm, and it's really old, somewhere between 50 and 70-year-old pine, so it's real hard to replace. And we're going to use it to make pretties with. I'm going to make this the Swiss door, and then a double door for the shop, and face it with this. I'm just presetting the nails. I'm not driving them in yet. And if you notice, I'm driving them in at angles. I'm not driving them straight up and down. If you drive them straight up and down, they have a tendency to pull out if the wood warps. If you drive them in at angles, specifically opposite angles, it has a tendency to hold them in better. But you can also use it for growing the boards tight. If I pounded this one in first, it would push the board out. So what I'll do is when I drive them in, I'll set this one first, it'll push the board in, then I can drive those out, or drive them in. Once it gets all done, I'll sand it and she can do what she wants to with it. And right now it's just being roughed in. Well, this is the exterior upper half of the Swiss door. Right at the moment it only has the face sheathing on it, and it's 2 1/4 inches thick. When it's done, actually when I have the insulation, I'll put the insulation in the framework in the back, put the exterior or the interior sheathing on, and the door will be 3 inches thick. I'm going to have to at some point get a router or a table saw so I can cut the lines square. I will have to square it up before I actually make the framing for the door to go in. But that's what it's going to look like from the outside.